So what if I told you that doing this, just crossing your arms, could actually shut down the fear center of your brain in under a minute? We're going to break down a really powerful on-the-spot brain reset for those moments when you feel completely and totally overwhelmed. You know that feeling, right? Maybe you're lying awake at night and your mind is just racing. You're stuck in this loop of stress or worry that you just can't turn off. You feel flooded. And it seems like the more you try to relax, the worse it gets. Well, you are definitely not alone, and there's a very real reason for it. See, this feeling of being stuck, it isn't just you overthinking. It actually has a real biological basis. So let's take a look at what's really going on inside your brain when that feeling of overwhelm just takes over everything. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's a feedback loop. You get stressed out about being stressed, or you get anxious about not being able to sleep, which of course just keeps you awake even longer. It's a totally vicious cycle. So during these loops, your brain's natural stress response system basically gets hijacked. You can think of it like a car alarm that just will not turn off. Instead of helping you deal with a real threat, it's just blaring, making a ton of noise, and stopping you from getting any rest. The technical term for this whole state is hyperarousal. Your body is just swimming in stress hormones like cortisol. Your heart rate shoots up, and your brain gets stuck in threat detection mode. And that makes it impossible to ignore even the tiniest sound or the smallest worry. So the big question is, how in the world do you turn it off? All right, let's get to the good stuff, the solution, because there is a remarkably simple and incredibly fast technique that can completely interrupt this entire cycle. And here's the key. You don't have to just sit there and wait for the feeling to pass. You can use a specific physical action to actively calm your brain down. Think of it like a manual override for your own nervous system. Okay, here's the technique itself. It's called the cross-body calm. So first, you just cross your arms over your chest. Step 2, place your hands on your opposite shoulders. And then you simply start to tap rhythmically, alternating back and forth. Left, right, left, right. And while you're doing this, you just focus on taking slow, deep breaths. And here's the absolute best part. That's all the time it takes. Seriously, just 40 seconds of this simple, rhythmic action can be enough to completely reset your brain state from panic to calm. Okay, so that's the how, but why does this work? I mean, it sounds almost too simple, right? Well, it's not magic. It's all neuroscience. So let's dive into the science of how this simple tapping action actually creates calm. Right here, you can basically see the before and after. On the left, you've got the brain in fear mode. The amygdala is going wild. But on the right, after using the technique, you see balance. The nervous system is settled down, all because you've given it a new set of instructions to follow. So let's talk about that fear center. It's called the amygdala. The easiest way to think of it is as your brain's internal alarm system. When you're in that hyper-aroused state, that alarm is just blaring. This rhythmic tapping directly soothes the amygdala, kind of telling it, hey, it's okay, the threat has passed. And what about the tapping itself? Well, by crossing your arms and tapping on opposite sides of your body, you're sending alternating signals across something called the corpus callosum. That's the communications bridge between your brain's right and left hemispheres. This action basically forces them to sync up and talk to each other, which pulls you out of that lopsided, overactive fear state. You're essentially hijacking the hijackers. You are intentionally breaking that loop of anxious thoughts by giving your brain a simple, rhythmic physical pattern to focus on instead. And your brain, well, it can't really maintain both the anxious loop and the physical pattern at the same time. The physical pattern wins, and that allows the emotional storm to pass. Now, this crossbody technique is fantastic, and it's actually part of a whole family of quick, effective grounding exercises. They all work on the same principle. You interrupt an internal thought loop by redirecting your brain's focus to something external and physical. Let's look at a couple more. Here's another one that's incredibly simple. If you want to break from overthinking, you can literally stop the thoughts by stopping your eye movements. It's another one of these physical hacks for your brain. It turns out your brain uses tiny little eye movements to access memories and construct thoughts. So by picking a spot in the room and just holding your gaze completely steady, you can actually interrupt that process and give yourself a moment of real mental quiet. Okay, another powerful tool. This one is designed to pull you out of all those swirling thoughts in your head and anchor you firmly in the present moment just by using what's already around you. This is called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. You just stop and you deliberately notice your surroundings. Name 5 things you can see, then 4 things you can physically feel, 3 sounds you can hear, and you go all the way down the list. What this does is it forces your brain to shift its focus from all those internal worries to external sensory information. It completely breaks the anxiety loop.
So what does all this add up to? Well, it means you have tools. You have actual, physical ways to regain control when your mind feels like it's running away from you.
These are the perfect moments to use that 40-second crossbody calm. You know, when your mind is racing before a big meeting, or you feel emotionally flooded after a really tough conversation, or even when you're just trying to quiet your thoughts so you can finally fall asleep. And this is the real power of this technique. It's not something you need a special room or any equipment for. It is a portable, physical tool for emotional overwhelm that you carry with you all the time. It's subtle, it's fast, and it's an incredibly easy way to reset your brain right on the spot. So that really just leaves us with a final thought. Now that you have this tool, think about it. The next time you feel that wave of stress or anxiety start to build, where are you going to use your 40 seconds to find your calm?